Alright guys, so continuing on with my Disney films in the animated canon, the next one up is The Jungle Book from 1967 and all of its sequels and reboot and remake. And I'm going to talk about the original today. And the original Jungle Book I watched as a kid a lot, but then as an adult, like Sword in the Stone, which I just reviewed before this, it feels like that where this one is not as good as an adult. Like, it's still a good movie, but it's not like one that I want to rewatch as an adult. It's not one that I care as much for as an adult. It's still fine. It's still fun. I think that, like The Sword and the Stone, this one just, for me, suffers for being kind of a careless movie. Like, it's just a fun time. There's not much, like, character depth or, like, emotion to it. It's just fun, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with this being a fun movie. It's just not one that I typically will rewatch now as an adult. But honestly, one of the best things about this movie, though, is the characters, and this is based on Rudyard Kipling's Mowgli books, and I've not read any of those, but I do like how cool these characters are. Like, it just has a great cast of colorful characters. Like Mowgli, the boy who's the man cub. Like, he's taken by Bagheera, like, as a kid, because Shere Khan killed his parents. And Bagheera is a great kind of father to him, and I like their relationship. And I really like Baloo. Baloo's really fun and really funny, and he's the opposite of Bagheera, where he just has no worries. He just wants to have fun with Baloo, and I like that. And then, like, characters like King Louie, or the elephants, or Kaa, who's the snake who is voiced by Winnie the Pooh. The snake that hypnotizes anybody that just looks at him. Like, I think that's really interesting and just cool. And I really like, even though she's in it for like a minute, I like the girl at the end. Shanti is what her name is in Jungle Book 2, but I guess that's her name in this, but they don't say it. Shanti. And then Shere Khan is a really cool villain, because this is just such a conniving, vicious, like, animal, and I really like him a lot. And then the birds with the Beatles voices are really fun as well. It's just funny seeing, this might be the first, like, celebrity cameos, like, in a Disney movie. Like, before Disney became meta, like, more meta than, like, these older movies, because in the 90s, of course, Aladdin started that and created that craze, but it's funny to see this, having the Beatles voices in this movie. Like, that's really an interesting thing when there wasn't such a thing called, like, celebrity cameos. Like, that's funny. And then the music is really memorable and really great as well. Like, The Bare Necessities is one of Disney's best songs. Like, in terms of all the Disney music library, that's one of the best songs in all of them. And I Want to Be Like You is a really awesome song too, and how these songs by the Sherman Brothers, the way the Sherman Brothers do this music in all of their productions, like, is really great and really memorable. And that you can see why they are still memorable today. Like, all these songs from this movie and a lot of other Sherman Brothers projects. And this one also, like Sword in the Stone, copies a lot of animation from other movies. Like, and also Robin Hood after this does the same thing, where it suffers from being another lower budget movie. Like, it's weird because the animation is good. It's kind of sketchy sometimes, like Sword in the Stone was and how Robin Hood is. But it's a little better than those two, but still, the animation is a little sketchy, and there's a lot of reused animation. Like, for example, whenever Mowgli is getting licked by the wolves, that's just the literal same animation from Arthur from Sword in the Stone being licked by the dogs. Like, it's the same animation. And they do that in the 60s, early 70s in all of these movies. Like, they use the same animation from a lot of different Disney movies because they didn't have much of a budget. It's weird because the 60s and the 70s and some of the 80s really did suffer in terms of Disney animated movies. Like, it's the worst time period for all of them. Overall, and it's just funny seeing the animation in this is fine, but it's still not, like, up to par with, like, a lot of the ones that came before it or came after it. So I really think that this one, with its shortcomings, is still a really fun time. I really do like these characters. I really do like the music, but it's more of a carefree movie. It's not it's not something that makes you think or makes you feel strong in terms of like emotion or care for these characters. Like they have good performances and they have likability, but it's just a fun time. It's not trying to be anything more than that, which is fine. It's just to me not as rewatchable and it's just a fun time. But I do enjoy this one still. It's just not one I typically rewatch much as an adult. So overall, rewatching The Jungle Book was a fine endeavor. I do enjoy it still. It's just not one of my favorites. It's still a fine movie though. Still. Now tell me down below what you guys think of the original 1967 Jungle Book, and thank you guys so much for watching.